I went with my guy, Sean Drake, and we did, I do a fair amount of meditation stuff. So I was kind of able to take, everything into account and be grateful for it and then use it as motivation for this next year. So yeah, I've had a fair amount of time to do that, but now it's not really that time. It's been later. So now it's just about getting better.
You enjoyed this, or is this kind of a pain in the butt for all this?
Yeah, mixed emotions. I don't love doing a bunch of media stuff. I just really like to play the game. But I do like to share my story and be with my team and lift them up. So definitely mixed emotions about it.
So Sam, thinking back to that message when you came back in January, you and the rest of the team, what was the message from Kenny Dillingham and the rest of the staff how to approach the 2025 season?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just not looking in the last year, and we got a few new players. So lost Scat, lost our center, Shamari at nickel. So a bunch of guys, 2 wideouts. And it's really just not looking in the last year and kind of focusing on what we didn't do this year. And, now we got a target on our back. So how well we played last year, we got to play, 10 times better than that to, perform at the level we want to perform and get to the same spot.
But is it a fine line, to forget about last year, but at the same time, to use it as a foundation? Because obviously for you, it's a breakdown year. For a lot of other players, it's something you really can build on. So is it kind of like tricky, like not to think too much about last year, but still take all the good stuff from last year and build on for 2025?
I think the only thing we really take is culture, and obviously our plays, so same coaching staff. So you have add-ons and stuff like that. But I think our culture aspect, how the way that we went about winning big games and things along those lines. But you can't take the pride from last year. Can't take certain players and emotions. So it's kind of, you got to give and take some parts and understand what's going to benefit you for the next season.
What all went into you getting heavier, stronger in the last 6 months or so?
It's kind of every single year you want to do that. I'm getting older and my body's able to handle more. So I always try to put on as much weight as I can to the point until it's going to diminish my athleticism. And every single year I get older, so I can put on a little bit more weight. It's been like that every single year, 5 or 10 pounds. Except when I was younger in high school, you make those 25-pound jumps, so it's pretty drastic. But just trying to become a better athlete and put myself in a better situation to not get injured, perform better, everything along those lines.
So was it working out, or was it a specific diet? What did you exactly do to beef up?
Yeah, you go about it in the same way as every single other season. You go about our process really well. CC and Coach Joe, take me through the season and explain to me, I understand training pretty well. So we kind of go through the whole plan. And I tell them what I want to get out of it, what they want to get out of it. And we develop a plan after there. And, early on in the off season, it's a lot of eccentric stuff, put on muscle, trying to eat more. And then, now towards this time of year, it's a lot of power movement, getting really explosive and, obviously getting pretty lean. So
How much heavier are you than last year?
Than last year, probably like 7 pounds.
How much more comfortable are you heading into year 2 as ASU started QB compared to this time last year?
Compared to this time last year, a lot different. But I'd say mid to late season last year, I was pretty comfortable. But, just in terms of knowing the system and players, people having respect for me. So, I have what I say goes in a lot of situations. You still have the coaching staff that is always going to trump me, and I have respect for them. So I'm never going to put myself above anybody else. But definitely the fact that, I have a bigger leadership role and a bigger voice on the team. So just that factor alone brings a lot of comfortability. And then going about the offseason, becoming a smarter player, a better thrower, more physically dominant, everything along those lines is going to continue to give you more confidence.
Sam, you've been pretty open about things like the Heisman type of thing. Then I would assume then you welcome the attention that comes with that.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really care about too much of the attention. I'm just going to say how I feel. So that's how I feel and how I felt since, even last year, I just I didn't play the way I probably should have played, in my opinion, whether or not people say I had a good season or not. So I'm just always trying to grow, and that's how I view myself every single year.
With the wide receivers, did you feel like a huge difference in the passing game from day one of spring practice until the last day?
Yeah, for sure. Lining up in different spots and not running the routes at full speed, not understanding the option game. I'm a field player, so I need them to sit in a lot of windows and understand that, not running through a seam straight to the post safety, as soon as you clear the nickel, kind of, sit it down a little bit. So understanding stuff like that, watching film with them, having on-field conversations, day 1 to day 15 was exponential.
In talking to your dad, he said that the competitive spirit is something you have or you don't. You don't necessarily teach a guy to be competitive. Has that always been in you? He said it's literally been part of your DNA since you started playing sports.
I wouldn't even say it's in me. I'd say it's who I am. I mean, every single thing that I like to do, you know, whether it's cards or, you know, shooting hoops. You know, I was just out here yesterday shooting hoops with JT, and me and him are getting, you know, real mad at each other before that. You know, we're arguing at dinner. So he's a player that I'm able to, you know, go head to head with all the time, and he has that same competitive drive, and that's the people that I like to be around and surround myself with.
Jag tycker in det TNT.